Happy Devils Wednesday. This is the State of the Fan Address, episode 35. I am your host, Sam Wu, here with the Pucks and Pitchforks editor-in-chief, working 18 hours a day, double shifting, triple shifting, was on the Monday Breaking News podcast on the Wu Report, Nick Villano. Nick, we titled this podcast as Devils Got Balls, but after watching that Ray Shero interview, I think Ray Shero got balls as well. I should have renamed it at the last second, but you know what? We didn't have much time, Nick. Devils are actually ongoing right now. Score at this point is 3-1. For our listeners that are listening to the State of the Fan Address on Let's Go Devils podcast network that's powered by Nova Product Design from Primetime Radio. You know, on the replay, what did you think about that interview? Let's start off with that, just because it's on my mind right now. Revealing, right? A little revealing.
Yeah, I mean, so I harped on this one thing that Ray Shero said, and people seem to tell me I'm wrong, but when they say I'm wrong, they're telling me in a way that tells me I'm still right. So I'm going to throw this out to you, Sam, and I'm going to throw it out to our fans on Facebook and Twitter and wherever else you're watching. I heard Ray Shero say it's not like Taylor Hall was going to sign a 1 to 2 year deal. And that was his reasoning for not offering Taylor Hall a contract. Because that was the new information that came out after we recorded, is that Hall and Ray both confirmed that neither had ever talked numbers and there was no contract on the table. And I thought that was insanity, not to even try. Like, throw out a, hey, will you take 8 for 8? Or Hall being like, hey, I'll sign right now for 8 for 12 and a half. Like, nobody ever went there. So that was insane to me in the first place. But then for Ray to say what he said, now I have a lot of people in my mentions telling me that, oh, you know, he just meant short-term deal. But he gave a number. If he meant short-term deal, he should have said Hall wasn't going to sign a short-term deal. And this is nothing. But he said 1 to 2 years. Which did Ray really, is that like what was in his head? Was that I'm only going to sign this guy for 1 to 2 years if he wants to stay here? And that's like insanity to me. So the streams out there, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm not pulling this correctly. And Sam, tell me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong?
Nick, on most nights, I would say you're wrong and you're overthinking it. But this time around, I think you have brought up a great point, actually. I actually kind of agree with you after hearing, you know, just hearing those words again. I think it's a Freudian slip a little bit. I think those are kind of details, and not to read into it too much. It was a little bit revealing of what was his mindset on negotiating this deal. You know, again, you read all the speculation, you know, from the past 3 weeks, but you always want to get like it's kind of like you know, it's kind of like a movie or a novel. It's like all this buildup, and then the thing finally happens, and then you go back and try to connect the dots after the trade. And I thought that was I thought that was very revealing and interesting that he did say that. Also, you know, congrats to Bryce and Erica doing that interview, you know, in that intermission. I mean, Ray Shero has to talk to the fans now. Because we were talking about it on the Wu Report last Monday when the trade broke out. That
Did you lose it? You lose it there, Sam?
No. I think I did say that we wanted ownership to talk to the fans, but this is just an extension of ownership talking to the fans. But this is the guy that made the decision. So I'm glad he did that in that interview, that first intermission interview with Erica and Bryce on the intermission report on MSG. But I'm still trying to wrap my head around, those. It was definitely revealing on the mindset, because we wanted to know what was really going on in negotiations, and I think that I wouldn't say it was a slip. I thought it was a little Freudian slip there. That I mean, putting those numbers out. I mean, Ray's a smart guy. I don't know why he put those numbers out, because now I'm gonna think about it even more. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I get your point.
I mean, it's very possible that I just heard it and I was looking for something, and I never get anything out of Ray Shero press conferences. I always get the same kind of spin team. Like he's it's very political, and yeah, exactly. It's just kind of he's trying to give non-answer answers, and I get it. It's fine. But when he does give us answers, I kind of feel like I'm being fed a bad set of beans, Like I feel like I don't know. I don't want to say I'm being lied to, because I don't know that, obviously, but I feel like I'm being sold, and I guess that's what he's supposed to do. But good salesmen don't make you feel like you're talking to a salesman. And just kind of hearing how everybody's talking about this Ball kid, who's this, and then when they asked him, like, oh, why did you like Ball? And he was like, well, he's big. Cool. Lots of people are big. Sam, I used to have a friend who was 6'11", least athletic kid I've ever met in my life. Big is not. I get that a lot of people are like, we're so small. Will Butcher's small. Sammy Vatanin's small. Everybody's small. We need big. Big. I mean, it's like caveman talk. Like, we need more than that. And like, this kid has been fine. And I say that a lot. I use that a lot because I feel like a lot of things that have to do with the Devils lately deserves that moniker. It's fine. Everything like Mackenzie Blackwood has been fine. Taylor Hall has been fine. The trade return is fine. I mean, I don't like the trade return. I was trying to be positive after I talked to you guys on the podcast on Monday night, and all you guys seemed to really like the trade. Maybe I'm wrong. I came into the second hour, so I didn't get the initial reaction. But the reaction I got in that second hour is that y'all were thinking differently than I was, where I hated the return. So,
number one, I got to interrupt you there. You said the word y'all. Is Tampa really just
it's rubbing off?
Yeah, wow. You said y'all. All right. Well, there are some things I like about the trade. Number one, going into next year's draft, they've got 2 first-round draft picks, which I like that dynamic. Now, I'm not talking about the trade for Hall for the plenty of assets they got, but I like the dynamics of it that fits in, because most likely their first overall pick, the draft pick they own right now, the first round, is going to be a high pick at this point, unless there's a miraculous turnaround, which, it could happen considering they played well without Taylor Hall in the last 3 games, including this one, right? I like the fact that they have potentially a high draft pick and another draft pick where in the lower part of the first round, you could kind of take some risks on some players, but you're going to have to rely on your analytics team and scouting. Also, what I like about the defenseman that got Kevin Ball is this, and maybe this, I'm being kind of a fan homer, but if they can add another tall defenseman and with Mackenzie Blackwood in it, I mean, that's kind of that's a standing tall defense, if you ask me. But then again, that may not build championships. But I thought that was very interesting that they got a physical specimen like Kevin Ball. Also, again, it was a little confusing about, well, if this draft pick is lottery protected top 3. Well, what happens if they get the 4th overall? Wouldn't that be cool? So again, Ray Shiro's legacy in the onset was based on that Hall for Adam Larson deal, but that all changed in the last 3 months because the Devils have done poorly and he winds up trading Taylor Hall. So that kind of extends, his legacy right now has changed to what this deal brings out. And right now, we won't know for another 2 to 4 years whether these draft picks and these prospects become something. We simply wouldn't know because right now we all expected that Taylor Hall would potentially sign with us long term, and that legacy, could go in so many different directions with Taylor Hall, or he leaves and all right, we had a couple good years, but we got nothing in return. But at least the Devils actually had a Hart Trophy winner for the first time in their history. So it's right now. It's like if I was going to give a report card on this trade deal, it's incomplete because we simply don't know who really won this deal. Now, if Taylor Hall goes out, rips it up, becomes another Hart Trophy winner, signs with Phoenix long term, or would Phoenix flip him at this point where they have him play for a month and then get something much better in return if they keep losing?
So I've seen that from a couple fan bases. I actually saw that from Edmonton's fan base. They were talking about that they could trade for Taylor Hall now. Somebody was talking about Gilmore Broberg. Trade Taylor Hall now. If it doesn't work out, trade him at the deadline. So, yeah, they absolutely can do that. Taylor Hall has 0 trade protection on his deal. So they absolutely could just trade him for whenever. But I don't know. I don't think that's the goal. I think that Arizona is going to be in it enough for the rest of the year that's never going to happen. The only thing that can happen to Arizona that can ruin things for them is a goalie, either a goalie meltdown or a goalie injury, which would in turn cause the meltdown. And I guess that's possible. That's very possible that could happen, but I don't see it happening. They have 2 really good goaltenders right now who are playing really well. And I just think that I don't think that for them to get the 4th overall pick, for those who don't know, the lottery only consists of the first 3 picks, and then you go in order after that. So that means that Arizona would have to be, at a minimum, the 4th worst team in the league at the end of the season. And I think they just accumulated too many points. I think your best case scenario is like 13, 14, 15. And then obviously they're not going to re-sign Taylor Hall because it didn't work out. And then also they can't win the first round of the playoffs. So then your next year's pick becomes a 3rd round pick automatically. So, you got to kind of gauge what you're rooting for now in the future. Do you want to move up 10 spots in this year's draft, which a lot of people do? Or do you want to get a 2nd round pick in the 2021 draft, which is a weaker draft, but 2nd round to 3rd round is a lot more 2nd round picks make it than 3rd round picks. Anyway, that was a long, drawn out process to kind of get back to. I get what you're saying. Obviously, we can't judge the trade today. A lot of people are going to.
I got to interrupt because this is bothering this Michael Garone in Facebook Live. He commented, incomplete. Come on, man. We got no A+ prospects, but you have draft picks. It all depends what these draft picks, who they pick, and what they become. It's honestly an incomplete. Now, do I feel good about this trade? Not really, but you can't judge till 2 to 4 years later, as I stated. On the onset, we didn't get crap, really, other than a big, beefy defenseman. But really, you to be fair to Ray Shero, it'll take a while to figure out, did he do well? And if you look at the lineage, this is all for Adam Larson. I don't think he can lose. I don't think he can lose in very, very easily on it. But right now, it's just kind of this is the gift that keeps on giving. It's just a matter of who do they select? How good is the Devils' scouting staff, their analytics team? I don't know. I really don't know. It's hard to predict that. That's why I say it's incomplete. Would you agree, Nick?
I mean, every trade is incomplete then, but that's not fun. It's not fun to call things incomplete. Of course, it's an incomplete when you're dealing with prospects and first-round picks and things like that. But I still think we can see the asset that Hall was. Think about the names that were being rumored and assess it that way. I mean, Vincent Trocheck was one of the rumored players involved. Maybe Shero. I mean, Shero probably was like, I'm getting another first-round pick in this year's draft because this year's draft is so good. So maybe the Panthers were saying, we'll give you Trocheck in a second, and that's where Ray drew the line. Or, there was talk of Boston area prospects, and me and a lot of other people were like, does that mean Spencer Knight? And if it was Spencer Knight and Vincent Trocheck, then that's a stupid good return. But I don't think that's what it ever was, because I think seeing what the trade actually was, and then thinking about that, obviously you'd want Trocheck signed for 2 more years and Spencer Knight, the goalie of the future. But either way, I'm actually further down on Nick Merkley than I was the night of the draft. I told you I thought he was the best piece we got besides the first round pick. I don't know if we got anything now. I mean, Merkley's fine. I think he's going to make the team this year. I think that, sometime in March, after he gets used to Binghamton, they're going to bring him up for that last month of the season, and they're going to give him an actual shot. He's a little older. I think he's 22. So I think that you're going to see him first. Sure is an AHL guy. It's what he is. It'll bolster Binghamton, and we need to bolster Binghamton. But, just the fact that all they've been talking about is Ball tells me that he really did push to get Ball into this deal, and he was the sticking point. And I don't get it. Like, Merkley at least has the pedigree of being a former first-round pick. I don't get this deal. I don't get what you got out of this deal. And, I mean, you got the first-round pick, but that's not what they're talking about. There's just a lot that, like, I feel like it should be obvious what they're saying, and they're not saying the things that make sense.
I think he could have done better. But at the same time, you have an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season with Taylor Hall. He's obviously going to test the market. What team would give up the farm and then some for him? I think the timing was wrong. I mean, nobody expected the team to be this bad. And again, I'm saying this to Michael that's just going off on the Facebook Live. Look, my gut feeling, and I've complained about Ray Shero's drafting, picking Jordan Stahl over Jonathan Taves when he was with Pittsburgh. I have that same feeling too. But to be fair to Ray Shero, and I'm not a fanboy or a homer because I've been very critical of ownership and the team. To be fair to Ray Shero, it's what he does with these draft picks is going to determine how successful that trade was, coming from the Adam Larson and Taylor Hall trade. This is an extension of it. I'm not being a homer by saying that. I'm just being fair. That's all, Michael. That's all. I'm reading the comments. I have like Periscope up, which you can see us at Let's Go Dolls Pod. I got Facebook Live up. I've got YouTube Live up. I even have Twitch up, and I'm just reading the comments because I just want, I'm just trying to be fair here to Ray Shiro. I'm not sucking up to him. I like to give people a chance and let their track record stay, so that look, Mikey McLeod, for all intents and purposes, okay, took a little while to develop. Ty Smith sent him down, not rushing him up. That takes a little bit of while. You want to talk about first overalls picks and Nico? I think he picked Nico over Nolan, and how's that turning out? Turning out pretty good right now. I feel bad for Nolan with his migraine problems and his health issues, but Nico seems to be a leader as far as I'm concerned. Scoring, right? Scoring. Palmieri scored. And, Jack Hughes, that was a no-brainer. He didn't go with Capo Caco. But Jack Hughes is going to take some time. So that's where I say maybe I shouldn't say incomplete, Nick. I should probably say to be determined. You got to let things play out before you can write a report card. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, you're right in some ways. I agree.
But if you want my gut instinct, I think this is all a flop. But I can't say that because it's too premature to even say anything. That's what my gut says.
Yeah, I mean, that's my gut too.
Negative fan. Yeah, I mean, I can agree with Michael that maybe he's thinking that, but you really don't know till you see the results. So far, it's and sometimes GMs do that. The whole thing with Dave Gettleman, and Pat Shurmur with Daniel Jones. That okay, now you put a rookie, now you got an excuse to have them keep their jobs for another 2 to 3 years because you're developing a rookie quarterback and you're telling Eli Manning to sit down. But when you have a bad season like that, they could be both gone. But in this case, it's not going to happen that way. The Devils are stuck with Ray Shero unless it is a total collapse where everything goes wrong. But right now, it seems like they're picking it up, and maybe that whole Taylor Hall thing was making everybody anxious, trying to keep him there. And now that he's gone, they've been playing decently now. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that the Devils have been playing well. I don't think that has anything to do with Taylor Hall. I think that's just they were gonna play better after Hines left. It took a little bit longer because Alain Nasruddin plays a similar system as Hines, and he took a second to put his changes into impact, or, to change anything. But you can see his changes now. And this Devils team is they're happy to what's the word? I mean, they're finally just happy to do something different. Like they kept spinning their wheels. And I don't know if you noticed, but this is the third straight night since Taylor Hall was sat down on Friday. This is the same lineup since then in 3 straight games. So they can build chemistry. They can do some things, and obviously with line changes and things like that, it doesn't always end up the same exact way, but they're getting some consistency. And I still don't think that Nasruddin is going to be the coach at the end of the season. I think that Cheryl is going to ride, he's not going to tie his horse to a player to a coach with no experience, no buzz around him, nothing that anybody was trying to, nobody was trying to take him from us. I don't think that he's going to try to get a legitimate coach. Unfortunately, that might mean Dan Bylsma. I have jumped about wanting John Cooper, obviously, but you don't always get what you want here in the NHL. I think that we're going to assume that the fact that Taylor Hall is out of the lineup is the reason why we're playing better. and blame Taylor Hall, but I don't think that that's the correlation that I'm making. I'm making a correlation that this team was always going to eventually play better, and this is an adjustment to the means that is coincidentally happening at the same time as the Taylor Hall trade. The one thing I will say is I think that the Taylor Hall trade happening does take a weight off their shoulders, and they could just go out and play hockey and not worry about it. But at the same time, we also have to worry about a Semi Vatanen trade. And we have to worry about a Wayne Simmons trade. And we have to worry about a possible Travis Zajac trade and an Andy Green trade. They might trade their captain. So the speculation isn't over. It's just that Hall was the big fish.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm actually kind of glad it's over. I have a little Taylor Hall fatigue, and I want to move on. I want to move on to the game tonight, the outcome. But it's really, it's just getting dragged through this for the last few weeks. It's just, I'm tired of talking about Taylor Hall. We got Bahls now.
So, I want to ask you one thing. What do you think about the goaltender position? Because this is something that I've now seen. I've seen the talk about it. Mackenzie Blackwood this month, before this Ducks game, Mackenzie Blackwood had a .938 save percentage. He is playing this month like one of the best goalies in the league. I think that Mackenzie Blackwood can have spurns and spurts like this, but I don't know if he can do it over a full season. Barring that, I'm not ready to give up on him as a starter. So what do you think, Sam? By the way, as I say that, Corey Schneider just got his first win of the season in Binghamton. 2-1 win for Binghamton over Rochester.
Great job, Corey.
I
want to see Corey succeed. I want him to be Jack Hughes' chauffeur to the games again. I want to see him do well. Great for Corey. It's like what I said on the other night. A lot of credit goes to Melanson, the goalie coach. Rolly, the goalie coach, is what I would call him, because Chico Resch alluded to this on the game broadcast the other night on the Devils Hockey Network. He talked about Melanson, not only, a goalie coach, it's about technique and strategy and this and that, but he was really working on Mackenzie Blackwood's mindset, and that Mac Black is going to have to steal a few games. You're going to have to win the 1-0 games or the 2-1 games, the tough games when the offense is not even clicking. And that kind of, I wouldn't say pep talk, but just getting him focused on that he's the man, since he's been on fire. He has been on fire. Even though he's 22, 23-year-old rookie, he knows he has to be a leader on the team and lead this team. Like what Martin Brodeur did at age 21 with the New Jersey Devils. To lead the team to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Rangers, then losing. He came back and won the Stanley Cup the next year. And that's what the Devils are expecting out of him. And, in my mind, aside from John Hines, I was thinking about calling for Melanson's job. But like the goals against average, a few weeks ago, I think Mackenzie Blackwood was leading the team, and he was over 3. Which was pathetic.
That's and just a couple nights ago, Blackwood's save percentage was under 900. He's already gotten it up to 908, which I think is close to league average. I'd have to double check the exact number, but for him to be a league average goalie is big right now, because Devils didn't have anything near that in the first month of the season. And I'm trying to put into words, but I think that he's the guy. I don't think that you need to Sorokin in New York is available, and I had some of my writers float trading the Arizona pick to get him. That's a big price to pay for a guy when you already got the young guy. Mackenzie Blackwood was a second-round pick, and he's playing well, like really well. Like this month, he's been awesome. And other months, he looks average. And you know who else has looked like that? Carter Hart, who's the guy that's like the future of the goaltender position and things like that. And I think that by the way, wait, did we win? Yep. So we officially won the game. So good for the Devils. I thought it was a really good game played by them. Blackwood he stood on his head a little bit, and then I heard that at the end of that third period they really came after him, and he stood on his head even more. So, I like Blackwood. I think that he's the guy that they have. I think they have to go into next season with him being the guy, but I just think that you need a backup plan that's better than Corey Schneider. Maybe a Yaroslav Halak or a Robin Lehner, one of those two. I think those would be two very good backup plans.
Well, and Martin Brodeur, busted in the league. Yeah, Chris Terreri, a solid goaltender, but a mature veteran. Terreri was already 4 or 5 seasons into the league when Brodeur broke in. The stars of the game, they have Mackenzie Blackwood coming out, probably talking to Erica, at this point. So you had a great game. Definitely had a great game. Palmieri had a great game. He sure had a pretty good game. So this is, again, there sometimes, Nazardine is just shoring up the defense right now. They're playing a lot better defensively, and sometimes the great defense, leads to a better offense. So I see a lot of positives going on here, but it's just a very small sample. Can the Devils put this together and go on a winning streak? That's where it starts. You don't need to get 20 games in a row, although it would be nice at this point. But just start getting a streak.
They kind of need 20 games in a row.
Yeah,
to get back into this thing.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about getting back into this thing, but moving in the positively in the right direction, because the first 2 months of the season was just absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Minus the first period and a half in the home opener. And here we go. Nico Hischier, Mr. Clutch. This guy should be captain. This guy should be captain of the team. I think one of the things that has surprised me about Nico was, I'm thinking, going back to that 2017 draft, and we knew it was a weak class. It didn't have much depth, but it had decent players. And then the whole Nico and Nolan thing going down. And Nico's stock in the second half, of his season where he was playing, his stock went up. And was it just a flash in the pan, or was this kid really maturing and becoming a gamer and a real player? But the way he's leading by example, even when the Devils were down 6-0, he did not stop. And that's what you want in a young captain. I know there's a lot of people that like Palmieri, and I think he is a great fit to be a captain. But Nico's already signed that 7-year deal. I think he's the guy. If you ask me, I think he is the guy to eventually take over the captaincy position and lead. He's proven it right now. And then that Brotherhood sign I'm seeing on, you know what? It's. I got to complain about that to the Devil. I may actually write an email. It just drives me nuts how awful that. It's not centered. It's just too big. Anyway.
Okay.
No, I'm just watching my monitor right here, and I'm just like, oh, that they showed a shot of Nico going into the locker room and that brotherhood sign on the overhead. It's like it's kind of reminds you of the Holland Tunnel when those holiday decorations it drove you nuts till somebody put out a petition on it. Maybe we should put a petition out of change.org. Just put another sign that's more centered.
You think that'll work?
I don't know. We
I
should
don't
try.
Think it'll work. Has a change.org petition ever worked? Ever? Literally ever.
Well, I know I think the only change.org I've ever seen that had some legs to it was changing the goal song back, and that obviously didn't work. It didn't mean anything. So that's the only small sample I can remember. But I don't know. Just having a little fun with it. The Devils, they watch and listen to this podcast.
Oh yeah, of course. They're gonna go. I mean, they play in the locker room, obviously.
Yeah. I'm sure Nico's probably tuning in right now. Hey, I got an honorable mention on the State of the Fan Address, episode 35. You know what?
He knows the number too.
Yeah, and maybe he'll call into the Bobby's Auto Care hotline. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be funny. One point that I forgot to make earlier. This is probably terrible podcasting because I'm jumping around, but I want to go back to Kevin Ball, and I want to tell you what I really hate about this Kevin Ball situation. Can I tell you that real quick? Can we go back to that real quick, Sam?
Let's rewind and go back to that. So,
okay.
What do you hate about it?
I hate that Ray Shero likes this player so much. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when he overpaid for Mirko Mueller, and now he keeps doing what he can to make Mirko Mueller succeed when Mirko Mueller is a below-average defenseman. And that's just the fact of it, but we keep playing Mirko Mueller because he overspent on him because he wanted this project. Now he centered his Taylor Hall trade around a first-round pick and this Ball guy. And if this Ball guy isn't good, I'm afraid he's going to still be in the lineup every night because he wants this pet project to work and he wants to make himself look good. Do you feel what I'm saying?
I feel exactly what you're saying, and I think this is kind of a compliment, but it's also a double-edged sword. Ray Shero is a little stubborn. There's a little stubbornness there. He kept with John Hines when everybody wanted his head, right?
Yeah.
He's stuck with players. He's very loyal to the ones that the ones he have picked. But I also like it because loyalty comes at a premium in this business. So, but I think he held on to John Hines a little bit too long. I think that the Mirko Mueller thing. Look, it's in my mind he was brought in because of Nico Hischier. A fellow countryman. That kind of thing. And
yeah, but
it's worked out great. I mean, how many other Swiss players could you bring in out of nowhere? When your first overall pick, at the time and even now is like your franchise player. I think it worked out really well, and maybe you reward the guy, but at what cost? I don't know.
If he needs a buddy, can't we just pay a guy $100,000 to follow Nico around, like a random Swiss guy? Can we just have like his best friend be on the payroll? Can't we just pull a Ballers? Can we do that?
Well, should we get that guy? What was his name? Damian Brunner to come back?
Oh Jesus!
pay him $100, come back and hang out with Nico. Nah, you know what? Nico, he's an adult now. He's a veteran now. He's been in the league. long enough where he can hold his own. But yeah, I wonder about that too. I wonder about it too. He sticks with his guy. Will he stick with Nasruddin long term?
No.
I mean, if Nasruddin, puts off, wins 30 out of 40 games, he's going to make it hard for anybody to give up on him. But he's got to win those games first.
I mean, if he wins 40 games, then the Devils are making the playoffs, and he deserves it. But I
said 30 of 40 games.
Yes,
but still, that's not bad. That's still not bad.
No, I mean that's insane. I mean, if he does that, he would make it hard. But
I mean, you go 30-10 after trading. After the debacle of John Hines' season and the Taylor Hall trade, I think he'd be a Jack Adams candidate at that point. You just never know. I mean, was Craig Berube a Jack Adams candidate last season? Do you remember? Was it Craig Berube, the St. Louis Blues, with that turnaround? I don't remember. Sorry, my memory's bad. It's getting late.
I'd have to double check it. I'm sorry. Who won the Jack Adams Award last year? Wow, was it Berube? No.
I thought he was a candidate. It was probably Trotz. I don't remember.
It was probably Trotz. I think it was Trotz. I think he was. Now that I'm thinking about it, but I'm trying. This is gonna bother me. Now I need to know. Yeah, Berube was. It was Berube, Cooper, and Trotz. Okay.
Tim Clark Callahan. Verify this.
No, I just looked it up. It's Berube was a candidate.
Okay. And he came in halfway in the season, right? If I remember correctly. Sorry, my memory is just terrible.
So he started in when did he start? Like November? And then they started that run in January. So he had a rough start himself, but he eventually got it going, and maybe that's what's going on with Nasruddin. I didn't like Nasruddin myself. I thought that he wasn't a very good coach, mostly because he coached the defense, and the defense is bad.
If your head coach is switching the lines around and switching everything around constantly, what can he do? Right now, he's been consistent. He's doing everything that the fans are asking. Keep them all together if it's working. And that's exactly what he's doing. I mean, these are simple changes, and we were all begging for consistency. And look at the results right now. You beat Arizona. You beat the Anaheim Ducks. You're at a season-high 2-game winning streak.
It's not a season high. Is this? It's not a season high, right?
No, it has to be a season high. There's no way they won 3 in a row. No way. They only had 7 wins for like the longest time. And these
but they lost the first 6.
Yeah, but they've never won 3 in a row this season, have they? Impossible.
You might be right. This season's so bad.
I'm going to go back to the stats. I'm going to the app right now.
They've won 2 in a row. This is now the 3rd time they've won 2 in a row.
Okay.
So they usually this is the 4th time they've won 2 in a row. So that you win consecutive games and they lose like 8. So we'll lose the next 8. Washington, Columbus, Chicago, Toronto. Get ready because you're getting free wins.
No, I'll bet against that. I know you're Mr. Gambling Analysis. Well, I'll tell you what, Washington, if they can beat Washington, this team is going to be – yeah, but the thing is, then you got the BJs on the road the next game. Again, it's those back-to-backs, but then again, they've won the second half of the back-to-back.
Yeah, we have been doing pretty good at the second half back-to-back, and we played really well against Chicago, who we play on Monday, and we played really well against Toronto, who we play on a Friday, or like a week from Friday. So, who knows? I don't know. I don't know, Sam. I don't know what the answer is. But I do think it's almost game time.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm just looking at the schedule. That Chicago game is 8:30 p.m. We're supposed to do a special podcast, the Happy Festivus podcast, like we did last year to air our grievances. That's usually fun. All
That'll be
right.
like a
Well,
6-hour podcast.
yeah. Well, anyway, why don't you talk to Facebook Live right now?
Matt Junio calls me Mr. Pessimistic right now. I don't know, Matt. I think I'm Mr. Realistic, and I think that has a better ring to it anyway. But do you guys think the coaching for Binghamton has to change? No, I mean, look at the defense that game of Binghamton. That's trash. Joe Burrow was your star defenseman, and then they cut him. Like, no. I think that Dennehy's a good coach. I think he needed a little bit more time to kind of get used to changing from college to the pro style. But my God, that defense is terrible. Like Josh Jacobs, I thought he could be something. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't this. Yeah, we have a lot of people correcting me on telling me that we haven't won 3 in a row. I saw it, guys. We didn't win 3 in a row. Matt again saying he thinks that Nico will erupt soon. I agree with you. I'm about to make one of the end of year articles that we're going to write. One of the many, but one of them is 5 bold predictions for the end of the year. And I'm playing around with one in my head. I'm thinking that I might make a prediction that Taylor Hall will score less points than Nico Hischier from January 1st to the end of the season. I will say this with the caveat. I think that's because he's probably going to miss 10 games with some kind of injuries because he misses games. He doesn't miss a ton, but he misses some, and he hasn't missed any this year. So I think his ankle injury or his silly wrist injury is coming. And I think that Nico can sneak above that. A couple people agreeing with Nico being the captain. I don't think that anybody would really complain if Nico was captain. I think that a lot of people would be on board with it because he's here for the next 7 years. He's one of the most popular Devils in the entire locker room. He's young, and that's kind of like the direction that captaincy is going now. They want somebody who could speak to the young players, and I feel like if you give Travis Zajac the C, it's going to be a very okay boomer type feel to it. I felt like 100 years old when I said that, but anyway, I just threw myself off by saying that. Man, I made a joke, and I want to jump out a window. Anyway, Raymond Gallis said Boquist looked incredible. Boquist has been looking good lately, like real good. I don't know what the switch was that went off in him. Maybe it was maybe he just didn't work with Hines. Maybe there was a language barrier that he's now over. But the Swedish people usually speak English, so that shouldn't be it. I don't know. Don't give Travis C. Whoa, hey. I'm just saying that the likely thing that a lot of this team has done in the past is give Travis the C. But cursing not necessary, Andre. Cursing is not necessary. Palm should be the next captain. We had a piece on Pucks and Pitchforks earlier this week that talked about Palmieri being the captain. So a lot of people agree with you. I still think it should be Nico. I agree with Sam. And if Tyce Thompson has a great rest of the season, I wonder if he'll play in bingo next year. I didn't realize how good Tyce Thompson's season was with Providence. I heard somewhere, I had to double check this, but I heard somewhere he's the second highest scoring player in college. Devils fourth, I think it was a 4th round pick, Tyce Thompson. Subban still has 0 points since November 2nd. Tim. Yeah, I don't know what else. I don't know what to say about Subban. I don't. Sam, what do you say about Subban? No points since November 2nd.
Well, I've been very outspoken that he should stop making tacos and cooking shows with Erica. He needs to focus on his game. I think he's too distracted. He's next to New York, but he's got to refocus or he's going to get embarrassed and not have any playing time on this squad, especially when they've already run 1-2 in a row and hopefully building from that.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, who knows? But we just got to string together some wins. I really liked winning. I liked it, Sam. I enjoyed it. It was nice. It was a nice change of pace.
Do you know I like winning? And so does Vinny Parisi from Pucks and Pitchforks. You can find him on Twitter at Vinny Parisi. He is on the Bobby's Auto Care hotline. Vinny, you and I are going toe-to-toe right now. I'm all fired up to beat you, and I'm ready to play the game.
I'm looking forward to it, boys. You had a rough go last time. I took you down, and I'm looking to repeat the same performance this time around. So let's go.
Well, I'm like the New Jersey Devils. I'm on a 2-game winning streak right now, and I feel hot. I took down Rob DeLuca in the last game, and I even impressed Nick where he thought I was actually cheating, and I had to reveal on my laptop that I was not Googling anything. Remember that, Nick? You remember that last week? I took him
still
down.
On the fence.
Still on the fence.
All right. So usually I take game shows of all varieties and I turn them into, games for our podcast. But today I went a little bit more straightforward. I wanted to look at some of the past times that the New Jersey Devils have traded superstars. Now, for one, I learned that the Devils haven't traded a superstar probably ever. The best player they traded was Pat Verbeek, maybe John McClain. But, yeah, we don't do this a lot, guys. So I want to look back, see all the times that we traded superstars, and see how those trades worked out for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 2 superstars. Well, I'm going to give you 2 trades because 2 of these trades have multiple players in it. So I'm going to give you 2 trades that the Devils made and the players that they traded away. And you were going to tell me which trade worked out better. I'm not going to tell you the return until after. Because obviously, if I told you the return, that would be obvious. So how I decided which trade is better is that the players they received in return who played the most amount of games with the Devils. Okay?
Got it.
Okay, so Vinny, as usual, you go first. So I'm going to just randomly pick these. All right. Vinny, did the Devils get a better return when they traded Jamie Langenbrunner or Jaromir Jagr?
I'm going to say Jaromir Jagr.
That would be wrong. Like, really wrong.
Okay. He went to Florida, right, Jagr?
Yeah. So Jagr went to Florida for a 2nd and a 3rd round pick. With the 2nd pick in the 2015 NHL draft, the Devils took Ryan Gropp. And with the 3rd pick of the 2016 draft, they've took Rem Pitlick. Guess how many games those 2 played with the New Jersey Devils?
I'm going to guess 0.
0 games. It is the worst trade on this list, and it's not close. It is awful.
I remember when you trade 42-year-old Jaromir Jagr and you get a second and a third, you're hyped for it. But now, multiple years later, you look at who they took, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, I'd rather have 48-year-old Jaromir Jagr than either of those picks right now. Jamie Langenbrunner. Jamie Langenbrunner, I got it because there's 1,000 conditions on this. So I'm going to try to pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm not going to be able to pull it up. So Jamie Langenbrunner, it was like if he signs, it becomes a second. If he doesn't sign, then it's the Devils' third. And basically, the Devils did all these wacky things. They ended up getting a third-round pick. With that third-round pick, they take 74th overall, Blake Coleman. So, I'm sorry, Vinny.
Wow.
It took a while, but Jamie Langenbrunner's return was much, much better than Jaromir Jagr's. So,
That's
Sam,
a fun little fact.
that's a fun fact. That is a fun fact. So, Sam, since you don't know anything about the Devils before the year 2000, obviously I'm going to ask you a question about the Devils before the year 2000.
Okay.
Did the Devils do better on the first Claude Lemieux trade when they traded him away for the first time? Because they traded for him and away twice each. The first time they traded him away, or did they do better on the Pat Verbeek trade?
I'm keeping my hands up so it doesn't look like I'm Googling because I was accused of cheating last time. The Claude Lemieux trade, the first time when he.
If I hear "Hey Siri," I swear to God.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I actually have that turned off on my phone because she's annoying. Let's see. Claude Lemieux came from Montreal, and then after winning the Conn Smythe, he was traded to Colorado. Who did they get from Colorado? Was it that guy Steve Thomas? I don't remember. And then the Pat Verbeek trade, I don't know. I was worried about global warming back in third grade, so I don't know.
Did you become a famous philanthropist?
Me? No, I don't know. I'm a big polluter. Hate to admit it. Drive an SUV, Anyway, I would say Claude Lemieux.
You would be correct. Claude Lemieux did get us Steve Thomas, which played 193 games with the New Jersey Devils. Pat Verbeek got us Sylvain Turgeon, and Turgeon was then traded the next offseason. So Turgeon only played 72 games with the Devils. So this is a short game for you guys. So, Vinny, you need this next one.
Okay. Otherwise, I lose.
It looks that way.
I can't lose to Sam. All right, let's do this.
Vinny, why don't you put your hands up? I don't want you Googling either, even though we have a graphic of you.
Did the Devils?
Yeah, you guys have like a 3-year-old picture of me, not an actual video.
Did the Devils get a better return for Jason Arnott and Randy McKay, or for Sean Burke?
Oh, I wish I had this question.
Oh, that's tough.
It may be a little subjective, but yeah, I don't know.
I will say,
tough one.
neither of these
know who it
trades-
is.
Sean Burke.
Did you say Sean Burke?
Yeah.
You are correct. Now, Jason Arnott and Randy McKay and a first-round pick got us Jamie Langenbrunner and Joe Neuendijk. Langenbrunner, of course, played captain for the Devils, played 564 games. Neuendijk only played 94. His Devils tenure was not as good as we thought it was, but he did eventually make the Hall of Fame. So good for him. But one could argue that the Sean Burke trade was equally as important as the Scott Niedermayer trade, where the Toronto Maple Leafs gave us that first-round pick, to building this Devils dynasty that we once get. Because for Sean Burke, the New Jersey Devils got Bobby Holik and Jay Pandolfo. They played a total of 1,543 games for the New Jersey Devils.
Let's go.
So, Sam, I'm going to ask you.
Now, Jay Pandolfo was drafted by the Devils. It was just a draft pick they got from Hartford, right?
Correct. Yeah, they got.
Okay.
So when I tell you these trades, I tell you the finished product.
Okay. All right.
I
would argue that,
Hartford,
but
it was Hartford, not Vancouver.
Yeah, I believe it was Hartford. I lost the trade now, but yes.
Yeah, it was definitely Hartford. Yep.
Yeah, no, it was definitely Hartford.
Well, actually, don't ask me. I don't know anything about the Devils before before the year 2000.
I don't know.
But I could make the argument that Langenbrunner became the captain. Neuendijk got injured in Game 7 against Ottawa, and Pat Burns used his injury as the inspiration. You see that guy in that locker room? He's crying because he wants to be out there with you guys, but he can't. So get your acts together, especially you, Friesen. After you cough up the puck, you better score, and make it up to us. And then that's what happened. No, not exactly.
No. He already awarded me the point. Nope.
It's all right.
Anyway,
just for the spirit of the game, I'll give you the point because I'm about to close you out, Vinny.
Okay. So
and I have my fists up. I'm not Googling.
So Sam, sorry, my computer froze for a second, but now I got it back. Did the Devils get more for John McClain or for Bill Guerin and Valerie Zelepukin?
Oh, that's an easy one. That is such an easy one. It has to be Bill Guerin and Zelepukin. I was actually there, Bill Guerin's last game, and we were all I mouthed off to him because I actually had seats. Little story. I actually had seats, Gold Circle, and where they go in and out of the locker room at Continental Airlines Arena. And I was mouthing off to him because that year he was going to be unrestricted free agent, wanted a big contract out of Lou Lamoriello. But he was just, again, like Taylor Hall, trying too much, and he was screwing up. And then when they traded Bill Guerin, they traded him to Edmonton, I believe. Was it Edmonton? I think it was Edmonton for Jason Arnott, right? Or am I thinking somebody else? Crap. No, who did they trade? Bill Guerin and Zelepukin. I believe Edmonton for Arnott, right?
They did trade Guerin and Zelepukin for Arnott. 302 games in that first iteration with the Devils. They also got Brian Meir in the trade. He played a very important one game with the Devils. So 303 games total. For John McClain, they got Doug Bodger. Played a whopping 49 games with the Devils. And then Dottie Wood never played a game in a New Jersey Devils uniform. So, Sam, you are the winner tonight.
I'm on a 3-game winning streak. I'm on a 3-game winning streak, and I don't know anything about the Devils prior to year 2000.
So let me ask you this, and let's see if you guys remember it, because my tie-breaking question was, who's played more games in the NHL since their trade? Is it Corey Schneider or Bo Horvat? Who do you think has played more games?
I would say Bo Horvat just by virtue of the fact that he's a skater and not a goalie.
Yeah, you guys would be right. He didn't play in the NHL until 2014, which is actually not that far out. That would have been a better question if he took 2 years to get to the NHL, but he took 1. So I just like that trade today. I really liked it, even when he was playing really well those first 3 or 4 seasons. But today I dislike it. I don't like it.
Yeah,
but I don't know if we would have taken Horvat.
I loved it at first. But I'm not. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not confident we would have taken Bo Horvat. They probably would have taken Nichushkin or something.
Anyway,
yeah, that's why it's like it was kind of worth it almost.
Vinny, you have a lot of pieces up on the Pucks and Pitchfork site. What do you want to plug?
Let's plug my Nico Hischier piece. You guys were talking about the captaincy following this season. I'm with both of you. I'm team Nico for captain. He's got to be it. We were just talking about Bo Horvat. I think of the same way of Nico Hischier. He's got to be the next captain. This is his team now. And so I had a piece on that go up this week, and it's a piece I'm proud of.
Well, there you go. Vinny, I appreciate you coming on. We're going to have you on again so you can try to get your championship back. But Sam's he's playing with fire right now. He can't be stopped.
Sam's heating up. I appreciate you guys having me on. I hope Sam wins every game against other folks from now till then, so I could come in and end like a 6 or 7 game winning streak. We'll see what happens.
Thanks, Vinny. That is Vinny Parisi of Pucks and Pitchforks issuing a challenge to the Woo. I hope I go on a 6-7 game winning streak and try to beat Vinny, Nick. But right now I'm on fire. You know why I'm on fire? Because somebody just got traded and suddenly everybody's winning. The Devils are winning. I'm winning. I feel good. I liked Ray Shiro's interview and his little revealing comment. Life is good right now as a New Jersey Devils fan. Now we don't have to worry about unrestricted free agency. We don't have to worry about the elephant in the room. We can concentrate on winning. Maybe they got the message of no more cooking shows.
Yeah, I don't know. That's also such a awkward situation for them. But and what are you gonna do? The Devils won though, so who cares? Winning teams is a winning team. Sam's a winner. The Devils are a winner. But Sam, we will. Have we confirmed next week's show? Are we good to plug that?
Before we do, could you just certify that I won fair and square over Vinny? Because I had to keep my hands up the entire time so people didn't think I was cheating. And could you also certify that we don't discuss what the game is before the podcast? That's why when you have to explain the rules, I actually have to listen in because I don't even know what game we're playing. Could you just certify that for all Facebook Live? Just want to make sure.
Yeah, Sam has no idea what's coming to him until I throw it at him.
Yeah. And also, Sam doesn't really listen to pre-production meetings. He just barks out orders and then pounds his fist and everybody complies. Is that true, Nick? Is that what happens?
I don't listen to you.
I know. Yeah, so to get to your question, let's plug, because there's a few things I want to plug, but why don't you plug the big reveal of the State of the Fan address next week?
All right, so you don't even know about this reveal, but not only are we going to give you a Christmas Day State of the Fan address, but Sam, you're going to go against me for the game. You can't see my finger. Me.
Oh, luckily you're using that finger because this is a family-friendly show.
I don't know. You should have seen that comment section when you were gone. It was cursing a storm.
So we're going against each other. So who's going to be the judge? Vinny?
I got a system, so I got to try to figure out how I'm going to work that system. But basically, I'm thinking that I'm going to send you. I think we're going to play. I don't know. I got to figure out the ins and outs still, but I wanted to hold myself accountable. So you and me, you're going to go 1-on-1 with the great one. I think you're actually going to win. I'm pretty terrible at these things. I'm good at making games. I'm terrible at knowing the games.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be fixed? Wouldn't you have the answers?
No, what I would do is I would send you my portion, and then I would give you the website to where the answers are.
Gotcha. All right. I'll make sure I'll ask a hard question, such as what skate was Bruce Driver using when he was with the Colorado Rockies before the Devils moved to, or the Rockies moved to New Jersey?
See, it was the Bauer Mach 4s.
I have no idea.
Yeah, but if I said it with confidence, you would give me the point.
Yeah, probably. I'd be like, wow.
Okay. All right, Sam. Great podcast, though.
Yeah. Also, I want to plug a couple things. I want to apologize because I had to work late today. That I actually had to cancel tonight's pop-up podcast with at PJ Ryan's tonight. But I will be there this Friday because I love those games right before Christmas. With the Devils. And I will be there at PJ Ryan's around 6 o'clock to do a pregame podcast. I want to plug that. Also, I want to plug that I think this may be cool. We've been talking about this $35 million jet that we want to buy. Well, at these pop-up podcasts to raise money for it, I'm thinking about having a giant tip jar. Because people ask me, how do I support the show? And I'm like, just listen. But maybe we should put a tip jar for this $35 million jet. See what happens. Probably we get the garbage in that tip jar. But anyway, it's worth a shot. But also on the 23rd, we're going to have our second annual Happy Festivus podcast. Somehow we're going to have to fit it before the Chicago Blackhawks game, or we'll probably do it, or possibly during the day, but we will be doing a podcast on the 23rd. So not only are you getting a podcast on Friday, you're getting a podcast on Sunday, the 22nd. You're also getting a podcast on the 23rd. Probably a Woo Report would go on the 24th. And on the 25th, you get your regularly scheduled programming of State of the Fan Address on Christmas Day. And you can watch Nick and I go head-to-head on a doubleheader with a game that Nick has rigged up.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to cheat.
I want
Just
you to put your
kidding,
hands. I'm going to make you put your hands up when I ask the question.
I still don't listen to you.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna cue in the music because we're definitely we thought this is gonna be a short podcast, but it turned out to be.
We don't have that capability.
Yeah. I know. All right, I'm gonna cue up the music right now. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it was a great podcast. I mean, Devils won. Happy. Ray Shiro's great interview by Bryce and Erica. Yeah, things are on the up and ups. I think we're getting back to normal here.
And when you say great interview, you mean Bryce and Erica are great, not the other guy.
I love Bryce and Erica. I think they're the best intermission tandem, pregame and postgame in the NHL right now.
Also, the best podcast interviews in the hockey.
Oh yeah. when Erica came on during the NHL draft, that was a great interview. We monopolized her time. I felt bad for the people that were wanting to take pictures with her while she's on air with us. Whoops.
We gave it to the fans. Come to the podcast. Come to the podcast if you're a big fan. Just do it. Just do it,
Yep.
people. Also, 5 stars. Give us the 5 stars. 5 stars. 5. Oh, I thought you were going to end it there.
Oh, I was, I screwed that one up.
I tried to time it with the music.
I'll loop back. Anyway, see me at PJ Ryan this Friday, and I'll be there with the tip jar. Like a Salvation Army. Maybe I'll be like Salvation Army. I'll have a ring a bell for the podcast.
Yeah, but people will misunderstand you and give you their old clothes.
Yeah, anyway. Until next time, Devils fans, let's go Devils.